Welcome to the Unfinished Business Podcast. I'm your host, Eric Mulvin, and this is a show where we sit down with CEOs, leaders, visionaries, and creatives who are out there changing the world through their business, through their organization, through their leadership, or through their creativity. Because it doesn't matter who you are or what you've accomplished. Even someone like Brad Pitt, still out there trying to further their career and get things done in their life. And so that's something that we explore here, those stories on Unfinished Business with Eric Mulvin.
Where people in tech connect to amplify unfinished business. Human intelligence plus AI. Unfinished business. Moonshot goals that launch you high. Unfinished business. Listen close and you'll learn why.
This episode is brought to you by PackBiz Outsourcing. At PackBiz, we help software, e-commerce, taxi, and NEMT companies outsource their customer support and back office tasks with dedicated teams in the Philippines. These are full-time remote staff who work as part of your team, handling calls, emails, chat support, and admin tasks, so you can improve support, scale faster, and keep costs under control. For example, one client cut out over $600,000 a year by switching key support roles like dispatch to PackBiz teams. So if you're trying to lower cost or scale support, visit pack-biz.com to learn more, or you can call us at 480-771-3009. All right. Today's guest is a husband, father, grandfather, songwriter, and longtime business owner and entrepreneur. He has owned and operated a paint contracting company in California for 24 years and then moved to Colorado in 1999 so he could take a job in a church as the worship pastor. And in the 10 years that he did that, their church grew from over 500 members to over 2,500. And he discovered that many of the same growth, customer service, and value propositions that produce a thriving church also apply to business. And so in 2011, he went into the mortgage business with the goal of working in the reverse mortgage space. He has owned and operated Remarkable Mortgage for 10 years. They are a small concierge Colorado mortgage company. He is now at the tail end of his working career years. His new focus is centered around helping people find their most peaceful and productive path through life. He has recorded music that has become the soundtrack of his life. So, ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome Mark Schmidt. Welcome, Mark. I appreciate you taking some time to be on here and share some of what you know with our listeners here.
Oh, Eric, it's not about time. It's about people. And you're the people right now. How's that? Your people are the people.
Well, thank you. I appreciate
Absolutely.
that.
Absolutely.
So you are out in Colorado, and I know your current business is in reverse mortgages, but you've had a actually lengthy career in entrepreneurship. So I guess maybe we could start. I like to start on the podcast with just talking a little bit about your story and your journey. And the first thing you got here mentioned is this painting company in California. So maybe we could start there. Was that your first business?
Yeah, it really was. I mowed lawns, I did things, blah, blah, blah. But in my sophomore year in high school, my father introduced me to one of his good friends who was a painting contractor. I worked the summer. Then I go, wait a minute. As soon as I could drive, I said, I can do this on my own. And I just started painting houses on my own in my hometown of Modesto, California.
Cool. And I mean, it started as maybe something in high school, summer kind of work. And it sounded like it turned into something much bigger than that, right?
Well, it didn't. I still was a small, solo proprietorship, but I would hire other contractors. But I just found a niche, and I found I was really good at it. And at the time, it's interesting, house painting, this is back in the late 70s and the 80s. Mm-hmm. It paid, even at that time, over like $100 an hour to do it. If you're good. Yeah, and you scale that up.
That's a lot.
Yes, it was. And so I was able to work part-time. I started a family. I worked on the next stage of my career, which comes up next. But I painted for 24 years. But I do want to add, I painted too long. I stayed in one thing too long. And the opportunity cost did bite me a bit. I could have moved, if knowing what I know now, which is what I love to help people see, is, hindsight is not necessarily 20/20 vision. It only lets you, if you only look at what you've done.
That's interesting. There's a lot to unpack there.
Yeah, try it. Take a piece, chew on that.
Well, what was it that you feel like you were in it too long for? Like what makes you feel like that?
Well, it really, number one, it was not what I wanted to do. I was good at it. I made good money. It gave me a lot of things. Sometimes entrepreneurs think, I'm going to have freedom. I can make my own schedule. But not if it's not going to take you. And it was unable to take me where I truly wanted to go. I had a friend great quote, I'll share this one. Put it on your wall.
Okay.
Never get good at a job you hate. Ouch. I was good at it, but I hated it. And it even took a toll on me physically because I didn't love it. And when you don't love something, you're doing it, and it takes a toll physiologically even on me. And it did. So.
Man, I feel like that's got to be something a lot of entrepreneurs can relate to, or people that you found success in one thing. Like for me, I started a taxi cab company. That was definitely not my passion. I wasn't like, I love taxi cabs, but that was where I started. I don't know how I'd feel if I was still in it, like 14 years later as well for myself. But I would imagine a lot of people listening might be in that situation themselves. Maybe they started a business like a restaurant or something, brick and mortar, something, and then it's just not running the way they want, and they're not happy. So,
what was the trigger for you? What was to get out of the taxi business? We talked about that story.
We were losing a lot of money.
Well,
there was that problem, for us it was around the time like I had the first app in Arizona to book a taxi before I even heard of Uber. And I was working with a startup out of Germany to do all the software. This is when like the iPhones first were coming out. So apps were a new thing on the phone. And but we were so small compared to Uber. And they were able to operate without making money for years, which makes it really hard to compete against a company like that. So there's a lot of factors. But ultimately money was the driving force. I imagine if I had money that I could put into it, I might have stuck it out longer, which is probably good that I got out because I don't think I would have stuck around, but wouldn't have worked out. But what do you feel like people should be looking for? Like if someone were like, you know what, they're listening and they're like, that does feel like me. I'm stuck, but I have no options, which is not true. There are options.
Yeah.
But what do you think people should be looking for in their life to be like, I need to get out of this situation I'm in?
Well, I think one thing is, do you enjoy it? Does it bring life to you? And can you see like down the path a little further? It's like, man, every time I look at this, there's this, we all have a spark. Okay, we've been given a spark. And is that spark growing in, if it's just smoldering and almost kind of going out, but if it's growing and all of a sudden there's a flame and when you're stopping and all of a sudden it leads you down a path, you say, well, I can see where this could go. I could be something. And also let's just talk the money, the fundamental money. If you're not making net after all is done, including paying expenses, insurance and all that and taxes, if you're not making what you would make working for the schmo company per hour, I always ask people, one of the first things I ask, and you're an entrepreneur, hey, you making any money? I always ask people that because it's like, you get into this dream state that, it's okay, but you understand it. That's the thing. But it has to have its own momentum. It has to be pulling you instead of you pushing it. How's that?
Oh, I think I agree with that 100% because there are so many times where, being an entrepreneur, you get beat up. There's challenges that you have. Money is part of the problem sometimes. And, to find that motivation to keep going for something that you don't even like doing, it starts becoming tougher and tougher. And I also agree too. Like the physical toll it takes, it's not just a mental toll.
Oh yeah, true.
You know, and you lived through that. Talk to me a little bit. Like, what impact did that have being in something you didn't really feel passionate about? What happened to you?
I think two things were painting is a very physical thing. I mean, I actually had to have my shoulders. I had to break them loose because I could hardly lift my arms this far after years of doing that. And I'm a physical guy, but I was also doing other thing. I was working towards what I really wanted to do, or at least the best picture of it. And my family was there, but I knew I wouldn't be able to buy a home. I wouldn't be able to do the things that a father, I had 3 children by the time I got out of it. And so, but just in my heart, so my day job, and it wasn't going to release me. It would hold me for the rest of my life. And here's another thing entrepreneurs need to know. I knew a couple of painters that had crews. A lot of times they would work the weekend, Friday and Saturday. You hear me? Mm-hmm. In order to pay their crews. Now, if you're working in your business and you're working the extra hours, 60, 80, whatever, in order to make payroll, you're in it's a no-win situation for you.
Yeah, that's crazy.
For the most part.
Yeah, I mean, it reminds me, it's something that comes up in business. They teach business owners when I'm in workshops about this too, where you got to measure your customers. And when you start breaking down all the finances, sometimes you find out that there's customers that you have on that are losing you money, and you got to release them. And it reminds me kind of like that, where you got to look at the numbers and be like, is this making me enough money to survive if I have to work the weekends to keep this dream going?
Like, what did we say the other day? You and I were talking about revenue and profit. What's the difference?
Yeah, massive. I'd rather have a bunch of profit and very little revenue than, I was listening to another podcast the other day, and the speaker was talking about like going and starting your own AI company. He's like, look, if you made $1,000 profit this year with the AI software you built, you're more profitable than OpenAI, which is funny. It's just the revenue and profit thing. It's unless you have a bunch of Silicon Valley investors backing you, you have to be able to make money, which is very true for business.
Well, and most of us are small businesses, and you've got a big thing. You got some people in your organization, so you've had to scale your thinking, haven't you?
Oh my gosh, so many times over.
but you're also constantly saying, can I do this? Do I want this to own me, or do I want to own it? Ultimately, you want your business to be able to run, and then you can step back and it's doing everything you can do. And the less involved you are, Ronald Reagan said one time, says you have to find that irreplaceable thing that only you can do. Huge theme in my life. What is the thing that only you can do? And if whatever you're engaged in is enabling that you're bringing your game, you're bringing, like we talked about, your song to the forefront. But if you're just playing along and everybody else, if you're just singing karaoke in everybody else's bar, that's not the real thing for you. It needs to be coming out of you, out of your soul, out of your heart.
Yeah, I like that. Again, being going back to how difficult it is to be an entrepreneur, and you hear about this fake it till you make it. I hear this a lot, actually.
Ooh, take that one on right there.
Fake it till you make it.
Yeah.
Well, it's like people talk about it for social media all the time. Like where I went through a lot of workshops preparing for the podcast and learning about, being a personality on social media. And one of the biggest advices I'd always hear is you have to be yourself. Like if you're trying to be someone else and faking it, and then now you have to put this persona on every day for every bit of video and media you create, you're going to burn out. It's not sustainable.
Oh yeah.
And I think the same for business too. Like you can fake it a little bit, but eventually you got to be able to make this part of who you are. Otherwise, it's going to be tough. But you mentioned about people finding their own song, and you know, for you, you were doing the painting company, you were ready to move on to the next thing. So what was going on in your mind there where you're like, I still need to find my song? Did you know what that was, and what pushed you to move on to something else?
Well, it was interesting. Well, one of the things that pushed me on is my knee gave out when I was on the ladder, up a second-story ladder. I could hardly get down and get to my car, and my buddy had to come and finish the job. And I got to the place where I could no longer do it. And at the same time, I play music. I went to school to be a pastor, but the music has always been the center point of what I do. And my friend told me something. By the way, if the people who are significant in your life are not grooving with your life, what you're doing, that's a big red flag right there. You know, not just saying, hey, this is cool, man. I hope you make it. I hope you can fake it long enough to where that you make it. But a lot of times you just end up learning what you make it is what you fake. It just is fake. It'll never not be fake. But for me, I didn't have a choice, really. Kind of I didn't make much money. And then my buddy said, he goes, you know, it was amazing. He goes, there are people out there, there's a church out there that's going to appreciate what you do, and they're going to pay you well to do it. And I hadn't connected those two things, pay me well and appreciate it. So I looked in this magazine, you know, it was for worship guys. Mm-hmm. And there are 13 ads. And I was like the right guy for 11 of those.
Oh, wow.
Because it was kind of a rare thing when I was doing it back in the day. You know, I'm kind of one of the OGs of that business. And I was 40 years old. I sent out 2 resumes, and 2 churches in Colorado bit. I came out here to visit one and talk to another one. And I came back for a second visit. Then they offered me the job. And 4 months later, we were here. My family and I moved here.
What a life-changing move.
Oh, man, was it ever. Getting out of California where I was, I'm so glad my family grew up here. We've loved it. We're still here. Generations now. So I kept that going. I wasn't exactly sure what it was going to look like because, to be honest with you, I did not think about being a worship pastor. I didn't really want to. You know, I wasn't sure where I fit in because it didn't fit me. Oh, there's a big thing right there. Don't try to find something where you can fit in. What you're supposed to do with your life will fit you. It will be a custom fit. Like I'm seeing that for you, Eric, what you're doing. This fits you. Everything you've told me so far and shown me, it's built around who you truly are. And that's highly commendable, pal. I'll tell you.
Thank you. Yeah, it's taken some effort and work.
Sure.
It doesn't happen by accident or on its own. It does take a lot of personal perseverance. I don't know. It's just shaping everything to get to this point. I mean, for me, I've been an entrepreneur now since 2011. So yeah, going on 14, almost 15 years. But there was a moment, I'll share this. There was a moment in my life where I was working a corporate job. I was living like in the suburbs of Metro Phoenix where I didn't want to live. I wasn't really living the life who I wanted to be. And I always knew I wanted to start a business one day. I did have people around me that were not encouraging about it either. And it took changing all of that. Actually, it was a big moment where I realized I had a friend pull me aside and was like, Eric, you know, you're still young. You could do anything you want to do. Like, there's nothing holding you back. You don't have kids. Because it's part of the theme song, right? I was working at Yelp, and they were letting me go because they were going public. And they needed to show every employee bringing in tons of revenue. And I was this culture guy. So they couldn't keep me on. But it was at that moment where I was like, you know what? That's right. I could change everything. And then that's when I really started doing everything for what I wanted to do, who I wanted to be, bring the people around me that kind of matched like my energy and my interests. And so
important, by the way, matching energy with people. Yes. Oh, huge.
Yeah, because if you have a lot of energy and a lot of big ideas and you're around people that have small ideas and they bring you down, you need, like, again, going back to being an entrepreneur, or anything. I forget being an entrepreneur in any field. If you're trying to do big things, there's a lot of challenges along the way, and you need people that are around you that can encourage you. Like, especially, and we could talk about this for a second, a spouse. Like, for me, I feel like incredibly important to have a partner that supports your dream, your vision, and pushes you. Not just, oh, that's cool, but like, hey, you've been doing good with this entrepreneur thing. You could do even better. Like, you could do even more. Why don't you make it even bigger? So I think that's been influential. What about for you? You know, how important has your spouse been for?
I told you before, I'm probably going to bring a perspective that most people, they might see it. They'll see it when I bring it. Okay. My wife was a stay-at-home mom until she was 40 years old. Raised our 3 children. I was single income, and I didn't make a lot. We lived well. We learned how to live debt-free early on. So that has gone through my entire life. By the way, make it a goal, make it an objective to learn how to live underneath your means and debt-free. And it'll free you like nothing in the world. So just my little advertise. Okay, my wife, she told me one day, she was 38 years old. She goes, I want to become a nurse. I go, really? She had a degree. So she spent 2.5 years out here at CU. And she became an RN. She got her RN. Went to work for the VA.
Nice.
She out-earned me her first year. Wow, is that here I am. And so we started a thing, and then after a year later, I left my job in the church. I had a good job, 10 years, but I knew I couldn't do it anymore. Even working in a church, I knew it wasn't right for me anymore. So we basically, I had to reinvent myself, and I went into the mortgage business, and that became my day job, and it really was. I hit it at a perfect time. But the symbiosis, you know that word symbiosis, how 2 organisms feed and nourish and feed each other. Mm-hmm. I have a little saying: the secret to being a successful entrepreneur is to marry a nurse. You like that?
Why? So explain that. Why a nurse specifically?
Okay, the thing you cannot deny in any business adventure is you got to look at the bottom line. Okay. We don't live on fantasy. We don't live on borrowed money. We're not venture driven or anything like these other companies. You know, we have to have X amount of money. We have to be able to afford how we live. We need health care. We need benefits. True? Mm-hmm. All these things. My wife's job has the benefits, health care, vacations. Mm-hmm. I'll tell you what, and it pays well, and it's a very good profession. Amazing. It's been great for us. She's almost done, by the way. And I added in the fact that she was covering the things that would cost me 2 or 3 times more before money to cover, paying for healthcare alone and other things. So we kind of joined forces economically, where I brought in, the entrepreneur money, which can be a lot. And I've structured my business so it has the lowest expense, but I still have the best tax advantages to it. So together we've built something, but we have used what each of us has to offer. And that is a huge pairing. I've seen plenty of families where there's 2 entrepreneurs. Tough. It can be, really, really tough. And
that's me.
So you understand, and and you're going to have access to capital or savings or having a way. But I've discovered some ways to do that too, through my homes, and there are ways, but always understand that bottom line. We need X amount. You do need to save. You do need to prepare for the future, which we did. Now I'm kind of in that place. I'm at retirement, right there. I guess literally I'm retired. I kind of I've self-identified as retired this year. How's that? So that's one thing. And you said something else. Let me go back to another little Markism I like to throw out.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you said, "Yeah, you can do anything." I like to say, "No, you really can't do anything." You know, I can't play professional basketball.
Well, true.
You know, and I can't be the lead singer for U2 because that spot's taken, and I couldn't do it anyway. You know, maybe one song, but what you need to do is your thing. You need to find, like you mentioned, that you found it matches your identity, your personality, that spark in you. That the thing that you have to stop yourself from doing because you really enjoy it, and it really self-generates, you know. And it's kind of like a perpetual motion machine. It creates its own energy, and that includes your finances and the relationships but ultimately the good you're doing. Because like what you're doing, Eric, you're serving these people. Like you said this one. Well, anyway, you've saved a lot of people a lot of money and improved their business, their bottom lines, because they've been able to outsource things that you can do far better than them. But man, look at those features. You know, are you truly making it, or are you just kicking the can down the road? And so,
yeah. Well, and if you do kick the can down the road, then when you get to the age you're at now, you might find yourself in a tough spot, is you don't have the money that you need for retirement.
Oh, you will find yourself in a tough spot, believe me.
Yeah.
And
well, in your business now, for that you've been running here the last decade or so with the reverse mortgages, talk to me a little bit about that, because it does seem like it. You know, you talked a lot about the importance of finances and budget and making sure you're making enough money with your business, and you know that's an interesting financial tool that reverse mortgages gives people. So what brought you into that, and what's your passion behind it? Because I would imagine it, with everything you said, it has to align with what you believe, and I could see that.
Well, it does. You know, so how I got into it is pretty simple. My parents needed to do something financially. They owned their home, but they didn't have enough monthly money. Monthly in retirement, everything in the world's about monthly money. You know, so I'd left my position, the best job I ever had. I left it because I knew I was done. It's better to leave on your terms than to be asked to leave on someone else's terms. How's that?
Yeah.
You told me your story. You were able to do that and then roll it into. My parents owned a home, free and clear, valuable home out here. Our homes in Denver, you know, an area, they're valuable, and they didn't know what to do. So I just started, and I heard about a reverse mortgage. It was not really well known. I didn't know anybody. I come from a big church. I didn't know anybody that did it. So I finally found a guy. We sat down. They had an appointment. I walked out. I went to work with this guy at a call center. My parents went out and got a reverse mortgage. That was my first. But I saw what this was what was possible. So I worked for about 5 years in the industry. Hated the forward part. I don't do it. And then I finally became a broker and then started my own company when I figured out that was really the best path. It usually is the best path, by the way, owning your own company. Unless you can beat it, but it's seldom if you do it right. And so I've been in that, doing this reverse mortgage. For those of you who don't know much, it allows you at 62 or older to be able to begin to take money out of your house, or to no longer have to make your mortgage payment, your principal and interest. You can put it in, it will accrue. But even the building up of that cost of that accruing loan balance is usually much less than the growth in the value of your house. So it frees up monthly money. It's secure. It's an FHA loan. And the longer I've done this, the more I look at it, the more I like it. And I will eventually do one place on our ranch out here. We'll do it too, but it's just not quite right yet for us. So that's a little bit of my story about that. So,
no, it's an interesting thing for you to be ending your career and doing this, but then helping people, you know, that because like my dad recently passed, you know, and my mom.
Yeah, you told me.
Yeah, my mom is in her 70s, and I've been having to help them through all this stuff this last year or so, and man, there's a lot of realizations that were unexpected as we've gone through it. Like, whoa, especially with my dad, he got into an assisted living facility.
Yeah.
That monthly amount that needed to be covered was too great. It became very challenging. And that's with my parents. Yeah. I mean, my dad was it was called a tool and die maker. My mom worked in a middle school cafeteria for like 10 years. So they didn't have they had a paid off house that it grew up in, but they didn't have like a huge retirement or anything. So there's definitely things that I wish we would have looked at a lot sooner. And I know that for a lot of entrepreneurs, we're just like, that's 20 years away, 30 years away. It seems so far. Like when you started your pastor job, you were 40. How much were you thinking about retirement or the future at that point?
When we came here, it was my first full-time job because I'd been an entrepreneur and I was a starving artist. I was a musician, I used to I like to say I paid to play. I would play for anybody anytime. One day, I was going to go play for a lunch gig. And they said, oh, by the way, lunch is $14. And I said, wait a minute, you want me to come in and play and buy my... Literally, at that moment, I said no longer. And I would no longer ever pay to play again. I set my value. And 6 months later, almost to the day, I had my first paying job as a musician. Isn't that crazy?
Wow.
Isn't that beautiful? Crazy. It worked, but I made the decision that I was no longer going to pay to play. I came out here getting paid to play for the first time. I mean, a full-time job. I had benefits. We had a retirement program at the church where they matched up to 10%. Wow. That's huge.
That's generous.
Well, that's huge, man. That's huge, huh? And so I worked my way up to, setting aside up to 8 or 10%. And that account grew, and I've continued to grow that account on my side and my wife too. But never let go of free money, man. Find a way to afford free money. How's that?
Yeah. Well, there's places where it exists. Gotta look for, or the employers. I remember I worked for Chase for a number of years.
Oh, okay, yes.
And they have I think it's 3%. You got to work there a long time to vest in it. But yeah, I took advantage of it too. Even in like early college, I was still in college, getting that. And it is funny. To this day, because I bought like half of a stock of Chase. And so once a quarter, they mail me a check for like 60 cents for my dividends.
Yeah.
And I have to go to the bank and deposit it with all my business checks. So it's always crack up. It's like postage is more than this check.
Well, now here's another one of I call them, they're called Markisms by people, and I've adopted it. When it comes to money, there's always a better way. Always. And if you're going to be an entrepreneur, you're going to have to understand money, capital, taxes. Begin to learn a little bit every day, and never allow yourself to say, well, I don't understand that. Somebody else take care of that. Well, they will, but ultimately it's your money, your responsibility, what happens to it. And to pay attention, there's a proverb that says, always pay attention to the state of your crops and your flocks. Pay attention to it. Because the one thing all of us can do, every entrepreneur, every company, remove the waste, the redundancies. Elon Musk has a great principle in his algorithm for his companies. First thing he says, get rid of the stupid stuff. Isn't that great? Can you relate, Eric, to that?
Yeah, it happened. I mean, when you have 250 people and there's a lot of stuff, like you go and look at some of the tools that we have in place. I'm like, no one's using this. We've been paying for this monthly. I mean, some like $15 a month, but there's stuff like that happens all the time. And sometimes it's not software. Sometimes it's people. You're like, wait, this person isn't really doing anything. And that's not really fair to the worker too. Like when they're in a position where they can't be fulfilled. So, but I especially see it in the Philippines. There's like a culture there about not waste. It's just they try to make everybody resourceful. But I even saw an article about this in the 1920s. There was a strike that happened in New York City, and all of the elevator workers, there was the people that used to push the buttons for you in the elevator.
Yep.
They went on strike, and they had already automated it for the most part. Like they didn't even need them, but there was this fear from people that, oh, we need to have that person in the elevator. Well, that strike happened, and then all of the buildings in New York just started updating all the elevators so that they didn't need people anymore. But it was mentioned that there's still one place in the world that they have elevator button pushers, and that's the Philippines. And you go to the malls, there's always someone there sitting on a stool pushing buttons. But there's like a lot of people there. So it's great you're giving jobs to people, but yeah, if you're running a business, some of those things, there's some waste there.
There is, and those little, boy, I'll tell you, just being able to cut costs, but not just to cut cost, but then redirect that. Money is energy, okay? I like to say money's an energy. Money's also an agreement. It's all based on an agreement. Whatever you make an agreement with, that's where the money flows or comes from. Upgrade your agreements, your perspective. I read this little book years ago called The Everyday, let me think, I pulled it out of my brain. The Everyday Undeniable 7 blah blah Rules of Leadership. But the last chapter, he said, imagine unlimited. He said basically just imagine. He would take like 2 hours on a Friday, every Friday, and just say, I clear my calendar and I spend time imagining what's possible. And boy, that quiet, that allowing your imagination. I heard a guy say that imagination is the creative power of God, and I go, boy, he is the source of all imagination and all creativity. I go, there's a pretty strong statement there. Take time to see where you want to go, where your people can go, where your company can go, but more importantly, just where your life can go. Because as an entrepreneur, your life is in your company for the most part. It's really hard to separate them, isn't it?
That's so true.
Can you segregate yours out?
I mean, we got different bank accounts, but my identity is pretty wrapped up in this business.
Sure it is.
Yeah.
And that's not a negative until it begins to destroy the positives. Okay, do you see what I'm saying? It's kind of like negativity and things that it's a force that just nullifies stuff. It's like when the floodwaters flow around and when the arroyos get rolling, the dirt goes down. It just washes away everything, doesn't it? In your region where you are.
Yeah.
And no matter what's been done there, I had a piece of land, and man, when that creek started rising, it would wash away our culverts and everything, and it didn't matter what we were going to do. Some guys would chain them down and stuff, but but the cattle were higher, so they didn't have a problem. But use your imagination to create, and I think one of the strongest powers of imagination is to eliminate. Is like you were saying, in this $15 or whatever. But man, what could I not do that would enhance everything I'm doing? And in what I'm doing now, what I've always done, writing songs, it's not the noise. Many times, it's the space between the notes that make the song happen. It's what isn't there that allows other people to fill in their own part of it. So anyway, I'm just riffing on imagination.
No, I mean, for me, I love creativity. I think this is such an important part of being an entrepreneur, because every day I'm using creativity to solve problems, think about how can we do this better. I mean, just looking at things and saying there's got to be a better way to do that and more efficiently. And part of that wraps in the cutting out the waste part, because
yeah,
that's not that the people that we're when people outsource with us, they're having problems with the staff, that they're not able to do the job that they need, and
Yes.
and then they bring us in, and they're like, whoa, your people are doing better than what we were doing with our people. And part of it's because you're not managing, like, people don't go out to start a business to start a call center, except for me. Like, that's my intention. But if you're a business, you got to answer the phones. You find yourself having a couple people, and what I see a lot of times, people just pay minimum wage. They're like, oh man, we had the 4th time this year we've had to replace this person, and they don't measure. There's a lot of hidden costs that are there, like the waste that is kind of not visible if you're not tracking it. Like your manager that now has to train these people over and over and over again, and they can't get to the things they need to do because they keep training people, because they keep rotating through the position.
Yeah, the turnover, huh? The fallout, yeah.
There's costs there and waste that, but you got to be able to recognize that.
Let me give you a real world with dollar amount imagination. How's that? I thought of one in my business. Okay, I own the company. I set up all, and it's a very lean. It runs out of my. I like to say I do business from phone for the most part. Mm-hmm. I have this is my home office I'm in right now. You can see guitars on the wall behind me, but this is my little office. I decided, because the way a reverse mortgage is structured, the maximum origination fee you can charge is $6,000. Okay, $6,000, and we, as brokers and as a business owner, I get paid on the back end, okay, by the company to do the deal, where the borrower's not paying me to do our loans. You know that? Isn't that crazy? Isn't that wonderful?
That's nice. So you're not taking the money from them.
Yeah, and so guess what I looked at? I could either charge maximum origination, $6,000, or I could say, almost every case I say, I'm going to waive the origination fee. And when I'm talking to them about the deal, I say, in your case, it would be $6,000. Mm-hmm. It would be added to their loan, but it's still their money and still a cost. I, in essence, say, I'm gonna waive this. I'm gonna give you back $6,000. I'm not charging it. I would make it. It would go into my pocket. Mm-hmm. First time I said that to my wife, she said, "Well, what do you think?" She said, "What do you?"
We could use that $6,000.
Exactly. But you know what? Every time I would talk to somebody, they would not go anywhere else. I call it, I make a one-call close in my business for the most part. Yeah.
In the mortgage industry, that's pretty crazy.
And I talk about this, I explain, and I say, by the way, in your case, I'm not going to charge you origination. And they go, $6,000. I say, because I'm still working, I can make that. You really can't. Yeah. And so all of a sudden, this is it. And I got my own skin in the game. And besides, I have prospered in this business. I make plenty of money. Who says that ever? I make plenty of money, okay? I don't need to make more money on a deal. I make plenty. It's generous. That's one of the reasons I went into the reverse business. So far better than the forward business. Mm-hmm. But I don't need to make it out of their pocket. And when they find out what I'm doing, all of a sudden, the bond and the trust that goes with that, oh, man. So I'm just saying, I used my imagination. I saw down the road how that would add up to my bottom line. Mm-hmm. And I have not missed that $6,000 per deal, let me tell you. I've never missed it. I still don't miss it. I'm doing one right now. I didn't charge it. How's that?
No, that's
$6,000.
Awesome. I mean, for, again, the people, I mean, you come across people that are in need. Like, no one is going to reverse mortgage. If they have a big, fat bank account for retirement, they're not thinking about, like, oh, I need this money to pay for my groceries every week or pay for, living expenses. So you're dealing with people that definitely have the need so that they could be prepared for the future. So.
Well, that's true. But I also have started doing out here $1 million plus paid off homes. Okay. I still don't charge origination. And the people, even with more money, in fact, usually people that have more money have a far better understanding of money. Have you noticed that?
Yeah, that's
and an
seems to be how they
appreciation.
got there.
So it's not universal, but it's frequent. No, I still make the same kind of deal because it's become part of my principle. Okay, and it really echoes through my entire life and my business. You giving, being generous, not taking the most. I had a very wise man, very wealthy man, made his money. He said, Mark, he goes, this is what I do. Every time I close a deal, everyone's happy. And he goes, I always leave something on the table for the other guy. Always. I leave something from my pocket on the table. And in my case, it's usually $6K. How's that?
Yeah. Did he have any examples of like what he gained out of that?
No. Well, I know his life. I knew him. He was in my church, and I knew he had made. He's one of those guys that hit the wave, in real estate redevelopment and all that, condo convert. Money was not an issue,
Yeah.
You do come to the place. I'm in the place. Money's not an issue in my life anymore, and there's several reasons for that. We won't get into it now, but you do come to the place when there is enough, okay? And I've hit that spot where I have enough, and it changes. When you have enough, what do you do with more? It's really an interesting thing. Like when your kids grow up, and you hit different spots in life, and you need to reimagine these things. What are you going to do now?
Well, that's interesting. With especially in entrepreneurship, many people, they have a goal. Maybe if it's a smaller business, they're just trying to sustain their family. But I know a lot of bigger companies where they're trying to build up their business for an exit, sell to maybe private equity or get bought out. And I know how much money's involved in some of these deals, and I feel like that's a lot more than most people need for their life. But I mean, that's their goals. But I mean, what do you think, like, what's some of the questions someone should be asking themselves to see, like, is this enough? Am I doing too much? When should I scale back?
Well, I'm firmly of the viewpoint. If you work more than just a normal work week, you enter a state of diminished return. You don't even know it. Like I mentioned, these painting contractors back when I was a painter, they would work the weekend. They work 6-7 days a week. And you ever heard the old phrase of burning the candle at both ends?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and that means your candle's burning more than twice as fast. And if you can't make enough money working a normal work week, then it's more of a failure of imagination, of administration. You need to find a way that business is going to do the work for you, not just you putting in. If you're still trading time for money, hours for money, as an entrepreneur, you've got to step back and say, I cannot work this way. I can't think this way. And if you're going to take less in order to go forward, that can be a strong strategy to do that. Allow your business, allow your imagination, allow your value add to whatever you're doing for people. Allow that to grow and increase not just your revenue, but your profit and your bottom line. It's not going to be you putting in more time. Nope.
There is a limit to that, and I do like that concept about does it? I mean,
who sets the limit? Is it you, Eric? Who sets the limit?
Yeah, we're the ones in control.
I do. I set my own limit. I do.
I mean, does Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos? We all have the same 24 hours in a day.
Yeah.
And ultimately, it's just what you do with those hours, and there's only so much you can do. One of the things I learned at Yelp, they always, because I did sales, I had to call 80 small businesses a day to try to get them to buy advertising on Yelp. I was one of those people, and the thing that they would always tell you is like, it's a numbers game. It's a numbers game. And so you know what? I worked late into the night. I worked on weekends trying to get in front of those business owners because I'm like, oh, this entrepreneur running this restaurant in Atlanta or in Florida, like the only time I'm going to catch them is a Saturday morning. And so worked a time backwards to Arizona. Okay, I gotta catch them at 7 a.m. on a Saturday so I could talk to them. And of course, they don't pick up. It didn't equal success. All of that hard work did not equal success. And then it was like a big realization for me that that creativity, that you have to be able to do that to like, oh, there's got to be a better way to make money, you know. And at the end of the day, that's what I was just trying to do, is make a career for myself. So switching that around. But
yeah, and you know, which I like to share, and I shared it with my kids and other anybody who will, I basically will share it with anybody who will listen. Okay. Mm-hmm. One of the things in life you want to do is pay as little dumb tax as possible. Do you know what dumb tax is?
I would imagine. Well, there could taxes that you shouldn't be paying, or
well,
there could be just things that you're taxing yourself by spending money on things you don't need. And
well, it's an unnecessary expense at your expense. I gave an example. Say, man, if you can't do this in 40 hours, you're not doing it right. Yeah. You're not doing it well. And you just told me how you spent all this extra time and energy and effort, and I mean the energy that takes. Correct? Yeah. To get up, to make the ganas to play, another phone call. Say, oh, that's a great Spanish word, by the way. And so you reinforced what the dumb tax was. You didn't get the return for the effort you put into it. It didn't really manifest in profit. So a lot of people, they'll want to do that and pay it, and literally it goes into paying way too much income tax. I've done that as well. Before I became an S corp, it probably cost me an extra $30,000 or $40,000 in taxes. How's that? Mm-hmm. Real number.
No, I did the same thing. Had it as an LLC until I got some more better expert advice. Got a new CPA, and they're like, "Well, you're not doing this." Made me question the last CPA. How come they didn't recommend that? But I think if I would have educated myself sooner on tax strategies, on these things, I could have been more proactive sooner, and it would have saved tens of thousands of dollars for sure.
So we both paid that dumb tax. So can we together say to the listeners of this pod, understand, if nothing else, understand the S corp designation for taxes. Ask your accountant, or if you don't have one, get one. But also begin to understand, like, for instance, deductions do not make you money. Okay, can I get an amen on it? True?
Amen, yeah.
They cost you. And so anyway, there's things that when it comes to money, the Markism is there's always a better way. So do it the best way you can, but that will typically, if you stay open and stay pliable, you will find a better way. You'll find somebody to come along and say, "Hey, I did that, but man, guess what? That one cost me $40,000. Like how much? You said 12 or 20 or something like that, Yeah. And then I changed here. I share it with all the business people. Yeah. And
yeah. I had some advice another one of my CEO friends gave me that I, to this day, I really try to stick to it, and I think it applies here well, that rich people typically will spend about a week a month managing their money. And I guess there's been some studies on this, and so they're spending a lot of time looking at their investments, looking at whatever it is they're trying to grow. And most people do not spend any time.
Correct.
I mean, and that's when I realized, like, I'm always so busy. I'm always putting it off, and focus on the business. Well, my personal finances were a wreck. So ever since then, I got some apps. It's running my budgets. I spend time every month. Me and my wife look at our budget. Are we spending more than we're like less or more? Do we need to adjust things? And that's been a huge game changer for us.
Yeah.
And I just feel like I'm guessing there's probably not a lot of people out there listening that are doing that. And her challenge to me, my CEO friend, was try to spend at least 8 hours a month managing your money and see what happens. And then you start the imagination, you start being able to find some creative ways to be like, oh, I could be doing this instead. The dumb tax that you're paying, you don't even realize because you don't ever look at your money. Then you can start uncovering it. So
another good thing to do, this goes to every entrepreneur, business owner, and you're doing this, by the way, because you told me about your mastermind with these CEOs, and they're big ticket guys. They've got big boy pants. When you meet somebody that has accomplished something or is doing something that you go, that's noteworthy, ask them, what could you share? Could you pass some wisdom? Or ask them, would it be wise if I ... I was talking to a young guy who was out here at my ranch dumping some mulch chips,
Mm-hmm.
And we started talking a little bit, and I told him, a lot of these young guys, I said, man, I wish I had met me when I was your age. Isn't that interesting? And
yeah.
But then I realized, wait a minute, I did. I just wasn't listening. I wasn't ready. Make yourself ready by being around people that can give you wisdom. Is more valuable than gold and silver. It's the most valuable commodity, is to get the wisdom on something. And I'm going into retirement now. I'm looking back and said, oh, now what I know, wow, I would have done this if I had known that. But I didn't put myself in a place to need to know it at that. Like you said, how to take that time. And even though I did it, but I'm still doing it now, and I'll do more. But I can pass that along too, hopefully to other people.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, you had mentioned something when we were talking the other day about helping younger people like cut years of toil out of their life. The wormhole. The wormhole. So talk to me a little bit about that, the concept there.
Okay. Let me just give you the fundamental. The most important thing in life and eternity is your life, who you are as a person, how you live, how you care and love for other people. I had a buddy years ago, preacher buddy of mine, he goes, there really is nobody on their deathbed that said, doggone, I wish I'd spent 5 more days a month at the office, or, more hours. People are everything. They are. People are everything. But the other thing is that you are also a person in your life. I call it, there's this idea that we have selflessness, that we all know that,
mm-hmm.
or selfish, bad, selfish.
Yeah.
I kind of came up with my own third option, better option. I call it selfness.
Uh-huh.
Selfness is understanding who you are, what you have to offer, but just who you are in the scope of eternity, of your community, of your family. Pay attention to who you are, and the better. There's this Ayn Rand wrote this book years ago. If you know who she is,
Mm-hmm.
I just saw the title, and that's all I need. And one story, but she said it was called "The Virtue of Selfishness." Basically, if you take care of yourself well enough, you'll make enough money to take care of your family, and you'll do good enough in business and in life to be able to contribute and share and be happy and peaceful yourself. Peace and happiness. At the end of the life, most people say they want 2 things out of life, out of marriage, out of retirement before they pass. They say, I want to have intimacy in my life with people and my spouse and I want to have peace. Isn't that great?
That is great. I feel like it's at odds with I wish it wasn't like this end goal that, after I'm done working, I could attain that. And I feel like I might be in a position where I can get there much younger than most of my peers, but man, it just seems like that's a tough goal to achieve.
So why are you in that? Eric, why are you in that position? Why do you think you're in that position?
Well, I feel like I could grow this business to the size where, it'll give me some options. It probably make me enough income where I can save up for the retirement. not have to work the 9 to 5 at some point, and who knows? I haven't made any final plans with the business at this point. I'm enjoying, running it and leading the company and being like the face of the company. But at some point, just like the painter thing, I can't be running a tech focused company forever.
Yeah.
Eventually, I'm seeing this right now. I know somebody that just is getting ready to merge their marketing company with a bunch of other companies. And one of the things that she had shared was there are like hundreds of thousands of marketing agencies for sale in the United States right now. And it's a lot of people that they've had this business for decades and they don't want to adapt to AI. They're like, forget this. I'm not going to convert my business into AI. And so they're trying to exit out. So I don't know. I just don't want to be in it forever. But yeah, I feel like there's that possibility, or maybe one of the crazy creative ideas I have turns into something that could be lucrative. I don't know. But that's why I think that's possible. But if you're working if you're a lot of people working their 9 to 5 jobs, I don't know, like you see how much that you need for retirement in the U.S. And it's and the stats. I'm just looking at the data, right? Like how many people have enough money saved up for retirement or are saving for retirement, and it's always disappointing to see just how few people out there are prepared for like a big chunk of their life.
Well, okay, let me just say something that's I've observed and learned, because I only work with retired people, okay? Mm-hmm. I do reverse mortgages, old people. My average borrower or people is probably 72 years old. Couple, or if they're single, it's tougher or they're widowed or widower. And I've discovered a couple things. I'd say about 85 to 90% of the people I've done reverse mortgages with live on Social Security alone, and they owe money on their house. How's that? Is that interesting?
That is interesting. Yeah.
And so when we do a reverse mortgage, they have their payment goes away if they don't have to make a payment. It's not required. And so that changes their quality of life, their cash flow immensely. But I've also learned what it takes to live well. And one of the things is not a whole lot of money. Because a lot of people are living on, let's just say, $3,000 a month, and they've been making a house payment. And what you need to be is you need health, you need people these are the three things. You need a home, you need a place to live that you're comfortable, healthy for you. You need as much of your health as possible, and you need good relationships. Money can contribute to those, but it cannot establish any of those. Okay?
Yep.
You do that. We bring that to the table. I bring it in my home, in my family, with my wife. And so it's an interesting thing. Money is not the main driver on this, because I've been around so many people that live great lives and have rich lives and family, and they don't have much. Most of them don't have a 401 at all.
The Philippines, the entire country of the Philippines is a perfect example.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, bring that up. That's so true.
Yeah, I mean, you could see videos where people walking through floodwaters, but they're smiling. And they're still happy, even though some of their possessions got washed away in the flood. You're talking about the culverts getting washed away in the Auroras.
Yeah.
But, I mean, these people's homes are getting, flooded. And, I mean, even talking with someone on my team, we were there's a big typhoon that hit the Philippines this week. And where our call center is based, Dumaguete, it's about an hour flight south of Manila. So we're further south, but we have staff around the Philippines. And she was saying, there's some flooding going on right now. It's up to my knees. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And she's like, yeah, if I go downstairs right now in my house, it's flooded up to my knees. But that's why I'm just working upstairs. I was like, that is crazy.
She's just working upstairs. How incredible.
You would be calling off, not working. And meanwhile, they're like, no, they didn't even mention it until I started asking questions. I'm like, how is it up there where you're at? Like, oh yeah, it's pretty bad. But it's the mentality is so different from the US.
And the gratitude they have in life. Oh
Yeah.
man, so astonishing. So and that's a perfect example. Then if you have money, then you can look at it. It's not the driving force. Any time in life, we lived very simply. Raised 3 kids on one income. Wasn't a huge income. Learned to get out of debt and stay out of debt. And enjoyed. And I still enjoy every day. I have a new motto. You ready for my new motto? You ready?
Let's hear it.
Live a good day. Live a good day.
I like that. There was a speaker I had earlier this year that spoke to my business group, and one of the things that they taught was to try and make every day a 10, like a 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
And what can you do to, like, every day you could do something to make the day really interesting. So, like, he challenged us to go out tonight and try to, what can you do to make today a 10? So it was like my kids were in school. They got out of school. It was like a Thursday night. And this particular night, I chose to spend some money. I'm like, we're busy. Let's just go to Dave & Buster's, and took them.
Yeah,
to,
now we're talking. Now we're talking.
play some arcades and play games with them. But like totally unexpected, and they were so happy. But you could do this very affordably too. One thing my wife and I like to do, we'll go to Goodwill and look at all the used games. And we have a closet full of like so many different board games.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I found one recently. They made a board game version of Tetris, and now we're hooked. Like, we keep playing it, and it costs us like $3 at Goodwill. So
oh, nice.
It doesn't mean you have to spend money. There's definitely ways to do it to, stick with your motto there, being in debt free. You're definitely not going to get there by spending $100 at Dave & Buster's every time. But yeah, lots of ways to do that. So, I wanted to, as I know we're getting kind of close to the end of time here, we didn't touch too much on music. You got those guitars sitting back there. You said something interesting about that one guitar back there.
Oh, here, let me get it for you. I got it.
Yeah.
This one right here.
Yeah, there's something special about this one, right?
Everything is special about this guitar. It's a Martin D18 Sunburst. Very rare guitar. I bought it in 1977.
Oh, wow.
And my father lent me $400. It cost $800 in 1977.
Oh, my gosh.
This guitar has bought every property I have ever owned. Playing this guitar.
Through all the music you played?
Yeah, through the music, the money I made with it, playing. I got paid to play. Remember, I stopped paying to play?
Yeah.
My first house. I bought my first house. I was making with this guitar $1,200 a month playing.
Wow.
And I bought my first house. How's that? And from there, now we ended up we have a ranch. We have 12 acres out here. This guitar and the other things I've learned and done. But it was the seeds. Like you talked about seeds in the wildflowers, okay? Mm-hmm. And they grew, and I took more seeds, but it still comes back to this first guitar. So that's the story of this. And my father blessed me with it by giving me half the money to buy it.
Yeah. It is fascinating. You're the second person I talked to in the last 30 days I had on the show. I had DJ Louis J. I've been having a lot of people in music lately. Or
DJ Louis J. I like that. That's
yeah. But
I got to get a better name, man.
Oh yeah, well, it's nothing wrong with Mark.
Nah, it works.
But yeah, he had gotten his first DJ equipment from a family member and invested. It was a large expense too, like thousands of dollars, because he saw like the potential in and it was his uncle, I think, so saw potential in his nephew to invest in, and it turned into this big career. So it's just well, the interesting thing, and I mentioned it on that episode too, is just how important family is to support, your dreams. And I mean, we talked about spouse, but also family plays a major role, critical role in helping you out. at times. So, which there you go. You got your guitar, because that's a lot of money to spend on a guitar.
Well, you know,
back then
it
even
was. Yeah. Well, this guitar, you know, I don't know what it's worth. I'd never sell it. It's staying in the family, and
yeah,
it's worth $10,000 probably, easy. But if I didn't have the guitar and I had the money, I can't play $100 bill, you know. And so it's like, no, you can't, you know.
No, it reminds me a bit about me with my cameras. And my parents helped buy my first camera. And
Yeah.
the
Very
cameras, when I had that taxi business, I made no money. It sucked up money. But the way that I survived, one, I was kind of like you. I had my wife, she was working in a hospital, not a nurse, but in healthcare.
Mm-hmm.
And her income helped cover our expenses. And I was able to focus on the business for 3 years, not having to worry about making money. But the cameras, what got me all of my income is I did freelance making videos and stuff for like Arizona Department of Health, for different brands here in Arizona, and that's what paid the bills. But same thing, I took that camera and used it to make money for myself, and so we have some interesting similarities there.
It is, and you'll see them through so many people. There's a proverb. I lived by this until it became my life. How's that? I lived it in faith, in belief. It says, do your work during the day, and at evening don't withhold your hand, because you do not know which one will prosper. Okay, the interpreter says, keep your day job, and for me, but keep writing songs, keep playing.
Yeah, we didn't even talk about that, but you have a whole bunch of songs that you've written over your life, right?
Yeah, I have. I've written. I'm a songwriter. It's just like, you know, you're a photographer. Period. Correct. You always are going to take. Yeah, you're going to see it and you're going to clip it. I write songs. I hear songs. You know, it's a interesting thing. But I've also performed and I play, and I'm beginning to record again. I stopped for 15 years. You know that? I hung this guitar on the wall. And a buddy of mine came along and said, Mark, you need to take that guitar off the wall. It's in this song I'm going to play for you. And the other thing was, 15 years, I walked away from something that was so important. And every one of us has something, like there was a wound, there was a disappointment. Yeah, discouraged. We all know that. I went back and I picked this thing up again. And this song, I want to share it for you. It's kind of the theme song. Everyone who's ever heard it says, oh my gosh. So I'll let you make your own decision. But this is the story of taking my guitar off the wall. My oldest son was in the Army. Got out. A couple of years later, ran into one of his battle buddies. Mm-hmm. During their conversation, his buddy was saying, man, I'm terrified of going to college. And my son goes, you know what? We need to be as bold as we were then. I go, man, that's a great line. So I go, Mason, my oldest son, I go, I'm stealing it. And he goes, hey, Dad, do whatever. And it comes up in the chorus of this song.
Ooh, can't wait to. Well, we're gonna wrap up with that song.
Are you ready?
Here. So, but I have one more question for you.
One more. Tear it up, man.
And because this, the point of the show here is unfinished business, and I love hearing different people's perspective. From the last guest we had on, was also in music, a band in high school, all the way to entrepreneurs and folks your age as well. But for you, you mentioned a lot about you are self-proclaimed retired now, although still doing some entrepreneurial stuff. But for you,
entrepreneurs never stop doing deals. We never stop.
You can't.
No, you never stop.
But for you, like what's your unfinished business? What is something that as you get into this next chapter of your life here, where you're not focused on having to work much anymore? What is something that you'd like to get accomplished in your time?
I really want to share my song. Not just songs, but the story of the things that were the most valuable and meaningful in my life. I want to make those transferable to people who are open. I don't need any. The reward is to be able to share that and to see other people get to the place in their life where they have freedom and they have peace. And that to me is the most important thing. I'll probably be really successful because the songs, they've meant so much to me, and they seem to be, I'm not going to give them away. I own them, but I'm going to record them and share my version free. Everybody else gets to pay full freight on them.
So for your music, because I want people to be able to find you, are you posting anything on YouTube anywhere? Or
not yet.
Not yet.
I'm going to finish this album, but I do have a website. It's kind of clever because the main song of the album is called Better at Nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Better at Nothing. So I have betteratnothing.com. Perfect. And that's going to be my music and my site, and I will do YouTube and I will do things like that. And so, you're the first, my friend.
Well, it's an honor.
Thank you. Well, no, the honor is mine to be able to do this, and have the old Silver Sage share a few things, and
yeah. Well, there's a lot of wisdom tied up in that head of yours.
Yeah, it is.
That's why I love having the show where we get to get some of those stories out and share that with others. So hopefully, someone listening today gets inspired and, be able to go out and start singing their song that they were meant to sing.
Play your song, you got to find it, free it, and then finish it. That's
awesome.
So whatever it is, and you have a song, and one thing you got to know, it's going to be original to you. It's not going to be just somebody else's. Like we talked about, you're not going to sing karaoke in somebody else's thing. Mm-hmm. There's something in you that no one else can do, that only you can do. And the last thing about that, if you don't do it, it won't get done without you.
It's very true.
How's that for
the world is going to miss out on that gift that you didn't share with the world. Well, Mark, thank you so much for being on the show. It was awesome having you on and hearing some of your journey. And
thanks, Eric. Appreciate it.
Sharing your music with us too. I love that. I mean, this is part of what I wanted to be able to do with the show, is get people on to to sing their song about their business, but literally also when it's appropriate, that we got someone that has musical talents to share it too. So
yeah, it's kind of a bonus. It's kind of like being able to dunk a basketball. Hey man, that guy. That's but thanks. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it, and I want to encourage you. You're doing a fantastic thing for, it's a young guy, and
thanks.
All that and good looking on top of that. So what can I say? And what you're sharing, this is valuable. This is good. And I'll tell our buddy who introduced us to thank you and that we did this, Greg.
Yeah, shout out to Greg, 1BC.
Shout out to Greg, 1BC. I've been a member for a dozen years.
Yeah. So if you're looking for a group to connect with, a bunch of entrepreneurs, especially in Denver, but they do virtual. So.
Yeah. One Business Connection. Denver, and I've been a part for many years, and I'm a life member. That means you can't quit.
Whether you want to or not.
Stuck, man, stuck.
Well, again, that website, we'll get the link here. So
Better at Nothing. There's nothing there yet, but I'm going to put something up, but it's going to be there, and that's going to be my my portal, my platform. Okay.
And if you guys like what you heard today, you want to hear more amazing stories from entrepreneurs, from talented people like Mark here, then make sure you go subscribe. Unfinished Business with Eric Mulvin, anywhere you listen to podcasts, or you can go to @BizWithEric on social media. And until then, we'll catch you guys on the next episode. See you guys all later. Bye, everybody.
Okay, this is called The Way Back, because it was my way back.
All right.
Be as bold as you were then, old as you are now, as wise as you become, young as life allows. Be the one who's strong and free, let others take the bow. Turn and face into the wind, live as only you know how. Bold as you were then, old as you are now. Take the guitar off the wall, pull the folder from the drawer, Lift the easel from behind the bed, push the Chevy from the shed, load that novel from the drive, flip the shoebox full of poems, get the rolled up quilt behind the couch, stitch a free verse about home. Make metal bend to beautiful, mix the colors of your soul. Be stubbornly original, go where no one else can go. Fix a broken link in a tired dream, clear a path for hope to flow. Tell the truth you've lived and loved and learned, so open hearts will know. 'Cause if you had this to do all again, you couldn't change a thing. It's yours to share with those who care, the secret of life's game. You made the roll and paid the toll in doubt and fear and pain. What you leave behind for the wise to find's the gold in your good name. So bring your soul up to speed, ask for what you need. On the other side of doubt is what your life's about. You're part of everything is a song you must sing. Start this now, not then, it's joy to begin. As bold as you were then, old as you are now, wise as you become, young as life allows. Be the one who's strong and free, let others take the bow. Turn and face into the wind, live as only you know how. As bold as you were then, old as you are now.
Awesome. Well,
There
thank
you
you
are.
so much. Man, that
Man.
is perfect for the show.
Isn't it,
feel
though?
like people listening, if they're ready to start something and they needed some motivation, just listen to that song and listen to those lyrics, because there's a lot of life built into that, as you could
A
hear.
lot, baby, a lot.